Testing, testing, testing. Good morning, friend.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
You look so cute, so
Thank you.
friendly, so welcoming.
I'm ready.
Yes, it's gonna be
Connor,
great.
yeah, Connor said my hair was too crazy though, but I'm just gonna go with it.
No, I disagree. I think it's perfect.
I was like so nervous all day for today. I was like, oh.
Our first synchronous session was on, what was that, Tuesday?
Huh?
And I'm like the breakout room sorter for each session. And so I was just like so anxious about getting everyone in their breakout rooms like in time, but I did it. Also,
Yeah.
this Fareed is managing like an overflow room because we have more than 200 for this session. So it's like streaming into the other room. And he just messaged me and said, yes, Katie. So a second opinion that indeed you are on point this morning.
Damn, I just like my curls are friendly though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great.
Yeah. I got my questions ready.
Perfect.
I just need to go get my coffee and I'll be like,
Yeah, sure. You got plenty of time. You are obviously the first one here. So
I know. I was like, I can't let Gabby and Fareed down. I was like, I need to be there.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just need to mess with my camera angle here.
Yeah, of course. Take your time.
I'm sorry, Gabby. How do I know what group I'm in?
I will handle that.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So you're in 1E. I've already put you there. So when the breakout rooms start, you'll just automatically go where you need to go.
Okay, I just wanted to put my group.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're 1E.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Gabby, I'm gonna need your breakout room skills when we do LLC stuff.
Absolutely. I'm a pro at this point.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's like 200 people in our 10 a.m. And so it's like chaos. But Fareed thought of a brilliant idea, which has been helpful, which is originally I was planning on just like looking them all up in Canvas. And he was like, why don't we tell them put their breakout group name in their Zoom name? I was like, Fareed, you're a lifesaver because that's just brilliant. And that has helped immensely. So most of them remember, which is nice. And then I just have to find whoever's like left after I, do everyone who has followed those instructions. So
yeah, Fareed's Canvas message was super helpful. So Fareed, if you're listening, thank you.
Yeah, I think so when we got this grant, we were like, yeah, we're gonna have, synchronous sessions in various time zones. They'll meet in small groups, we'll cohort them. And they were like, sounds great. Like we approve that we like this idea, go forth. And then we were like, oh, okay, how are we gonna actually like do this? Because we had this like vision of, I think, like how we want to look with like, but we weren't sure how to like actually make it happen. And so I think we were all like in awe on Tuesday when we were like, oh, we like made it work.
Yeah. No, y'all are crushing it.
Yeah, I mean, knock on wood, everything's going pretty darn smoothly so far. There's been a few Canvas like hiccups along the way, but overall, um, it's been smooth. So fingers crossed it continues that way. But I mean, after today, we're done with week 1, and then we just have 2 weeks left. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah. So it's exciting.
So I keep looking at the screen and I'm like, who is Ben? Why is he here? But then I realized it's like part of this.
Katie.
Like that was like my first thing. And I was like when I first got here, I was like, so Gabby and Ben. I was like, who's Ben?
You're like, sorry, I think you're frozen.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, no. I don't know who he is, but he kindly screenshotted himself and is available on Google Images with this helpful drop-down menu. So I was like, okay.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay, Heidi is here and Jackie's here. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Eating breakfast. Good.
Nice. Okay, 1A and then 1C. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up the room for Fulbrighters to start coming in, FYI, so you may see folks popping into the room. Hello, everyone who's just joining us. If you haven't already done so, if you could rename yourself on Zoom so that your breakout room name is included, that would be great. It should be a number followed by a letter, and we will get started in just a moment.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, good evening from here.
Oh, good.
Everybody. Most of you have renamed yourselves in Zoom to reflect your breakout group name, so thank you for that. If you haven't already done so, if you could do that, that would be helpful. And then also, if everyone could just make sure that your microphones are muted, that would also be helpful. And we will get started momentarily. started in just a couple minutes. Still a few folks joining us, so we'll get started in just a moment. All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our networking synchronous session. It's nice to see you all again. Again, I'm Gabby Strakowski. I'm a project coordinator in the Office of International Programs here at Wayne State, and I'm so excited to see you all back here in Zoom. Just a few housekeeping items before we begin this morning. First of all, please note that this main session will be recorded, but your breakout rooms that you will be joining a little bit later are not recorded. So just keep in mind anything that occurs in this main room will be in that recording, but when you're in your breakout rooms, feel free to be totally open and share anything you'd like to, and just know that that's a safe and confidential space for you to do so. We also have a few tech updates for you. We did share announcements about this, so hopefully you saw them, but if not, we wanted to let you all know that the email verification issue in Canvas has been resolved, which we're very relieved about. So the prompt that you're getting in Canvas asking you to verify your Canvas account through email should now be working. That verification email should now be going right to your personal email. So you can verify your Canvas account and then proceed to update your profile and things like that. So go ahead and give that a try if you haven't already done so. And then additionally, if you are using an Apple mobile device, such as an iPhone or an iPad, we've been made aware that there were some issues playing the videos, but you will now notice that under each video in Canvas, there is now a link that says, click here to open this video in a new window. And when you click on that through an Apple device, it will pull up a new window that should play the video just fine with no issue. So we just wanted to make you aware of that, and also say that we really appreciate your patience as we work through these technical issues. Just like you, we are adapting to this new virtual world that we find ourselves in due to COVID-19. So thank you so much for bearing with us as we just kind of troubleshoot some of those issues. All right, so without further ado, I would like to turn it over to our faculty presenter. We are so excited to have with us today Dr. Colleen Ezzeddine. So Colleen, I turn it to you.
Thank you so much. It is great to be here. I'm coming at you from Farmington Hills, Michigan, which is outside of Detroit, Michigan. And I feel like I know some of you, some better than others. I've tried to get into all of your little discussion boards and read as much as I could and visit some Padlets. So I recognize many of your names, and it is great to be here with you. Gabby, if you could make sure my screen sharing is enabled because it says it is disabled, so that would be wonderful. We're going to have some conversations today about networking and about conversations. And I'm really looking forward to that. So what I'm going to do then is going to make sure that you guys can see my screen, which I'm assuming you can.
I can see it just fine, Colleen.
Wonderful. That's the screen I'm used to seeing, and I'm sure you're all used to seeing as well as we start any of our sessions. Here we go. So we're talking about conversations and networking. And I'm just going to move some of these things out of the way. You know, I'm on a new computer, so I'm having a hard time advancing my slides, which is kind of odd. Okay, so we're going to spend some more time learning and practicing strategies for conversation and actually start thinking about the future and what we can be doing going forward to keep our networking going. But I'm just curious, if you still have a question about networking that is still unanswered and you're still kind of wondering about, I invite you to type that question in the chat. Now, please don't feel you have to. I'm not looking for complete participation, but if you have a question still unanswered, if you could type that in the chat, and I will be getting to those questions a little bit later in the program. Gabby, everything okay?
Yeah, everything looks good from my end.
Okay. Well, I've been to a lot of discussion boards over the last few days, and it's gotten me out of a lot of household chores because every time I was supposed to be doing something around the house, I could pull out my laptop and say, you know what, I need to see what's happening on these discussion boards. And to be honest, it was not a chore. It was actually quite enjoyable because I learned so much from all of your different networking techniques. So one thing I noticed was that you guys had lots of good advice about some things you just should not talk about when you're networking and meeting new people. So I kind of captured some of that here for you. One of the things I was struck by is do not assume anything about someone you are meeting for the first time. That can get you into some awkward places in making conversation. Also, what came up a lot, don't talk too much about yourself as you're getting to know someone. Really use your questioning abilities to get to know other people. And I kept hearing that, you know, you don't want to talk about the weather when you meet a new person. And I thought that was very interesting. More on that in a minute. What you also said, you also shared a lot about the things that are challenging you. And over again, I heard, you know what, it is really hard to walk up and meet new people. And some of you said it's even harder when you're trying to approach a group of people who are already talking. But then someone said, you know what, I think it's easier to go on and approach a little group talking because then the focus isn't all on you. If you go up and meet someone just one-on-one and there's an awkward pause, you know, it can be even more awkward. But some people even said, you know, it can be easier to approach a group than approaching just someone one-on-one. Another thing I kept hearing was it's difficult to network if you consider yourself more of an introvert. So I want to remind you all that we have some resources in a folder called resources on our networking module. There are some articles there I invite you to look at, and I hope to add even more articles to that as well, since many of you talked about that. Many of you kept bringing up that it's difficult to find the time to maintain your network. And I heard a lot about, you know, in this new world of ours, how are we going to expand our network and get to know people just virtually. So that came up quite a bit, as well as how do we keep the conversation going when we're not sure where to take it next? And again, we have an article in our resource folder to help you with that. But that brings us back to the weather, because people kept saying, you know what, we certainly don't want to talk about the weather. So I want to ask you guys, here's a little quiz, just take note. What country do you think you're living in when 94% of the population will admit and tell you that they've talked about the weather with someone within the past 6 hours? So your choices are Finland, the USA, the United Kingdom, or Indonesia. Where do you think you are when virtually everyone is talking about the weather? Well, we'll come back to that in a minute. But first, why do you think people are talking so much about the weather? Is it because, we want to know what to wear? Is it because, in some places in the world, any minute there could be a tornado or a monsoon? Are we all just meteorologists or fascinated by the weather? It's interesting to think about. Is it just something in common that we all kind of are affected by? Well, one of the reasons why so many people are talking about the weather is that we're often looking for an icebreaker, and we're looking for something to say, and it just seems kind of obvious. Sometimes in the middle of a conversation, we have nowhere to go, so we bring up the weather. Sometimes we're trying to get away from an uncomfortable topic, and believe it or not, sometimes we do it to complain. It's a common complaint often. Oh, this weather, it's terrible. We haven't had a sunny day in weeks. And people sometimes complain because they're looking to find an easy way to bond with people that they don't know. We can all commiserate together. Another reason is we're trying to assess someone's mood. So sometimes I might ask a question about the weather or comment about the weather. It's very interesting to find out how they respond, if they respond. Are they open to further conversation? In fact, what we're finding out is if someone asks you about the weather and you don't want to come off as rude, they say you should just agree. If someone makes a comment that, this weather is horrible, a lot of times people are looking that that person they're talking to is in agreement with them, or else it can seem kind of rude or standoffish. So just be aware of that. People talk about the weather for a variety of reasons. So based on what I've told you, what do you think? Has that changed your answer? What are you thinking? What country are we living in when 94% of the population admit to talking about the weather? Well, let's look at what culture tells us about people and their preferences. Now, it's always difficult and to make generalizations about a whole group of people, but certain cultures and in addition, certain individuals tend to have either a negative face or a positive face when they're interacting with the public. People that prefer that negative face prefer autonomy and being left alone. Sometimes I go to swim meets to watch my children swim, and I always bring a book with me because sometimes I'm just not in the mood to talk. Sometimes those folks will do ice-breaking questions with others, asking very safe and just easygoing, light questions, not too personal. If you have a preference for a positive face, you tend to, when you're out in public, you want approval and you have this natural tendency to form bonds. So you might find yourself asking more personal questions. Okay, so how does this help us answer that question? Well, what if I told you that certain societies tend to be more negative facing and some societies tend to be more positive facing? So, again, generalities, negative facing societies, here are some examples: Japan, Switzerland, Finland, the UK. Positive facing societies tend to be more from the Middle East, China, Southeast Asia, South America, and the United States. So maybe that bit of information will maybe help us eliminate two of those choices. So now we're down to Finland and the UK. And you might be surprised to learn, or maybe not, that the answer is the United Kingdom. They have also found that its location in the world, on the globe, it tends to have very unpredictable weather. So when your weather is very unpredictable, it's going to come up in conversation a lot. I mean, if you live somewhere where it was 99% of the time sunny and beautiful, the weather may not come up as much in conversation. So I'm not going to tell you never talk about the weather. A lot of people do, and I want you to be aware of why people do it and how you can still learn a lot about someone by what they're saying and answering with you about the weather. Now, let's get into a little bit the Celeste Headley video that we've all watched and we've all discussed in our mini micro groups. She also has a book out, at least one, if you're interested in learning more about her and her views on communication. But just to give you a brief summary, refresh our memories, Celeste told us a lot about how to have better conversations. You need to be present and not multitasking, not looking at your phone, not looking at another screen while you're on a video call. Don't pontificate. Now, if you're wondering what that means, it usually means that, you know, you have something to say and you have an opinion about something and you want the world to know. So if you tend to pontificate, you know, maybe you should get a podcast or start a blog. But usually in small talk, getting to know one another, it's really not the time to be announcing edicts or, you know, different conclusions about the world and our place in it. Celeste talks about using open-ended questions, which is difficult to do. And you can see the example, oh gosh, what was that like? Instead of assuming that, oh my gosh, were you angry, for example. Go with the flow. Gosh, sometimes we go into conversations and we just think it's gonna go a certain way, or we want it to go a certain way. But if you're really being an intentional listener and you're open to wherever this may take you, you're really able to adapt and go with the flow more easily. Hey, and if you don't know something, please admit that. I know people, and you might too, who whenever you ask them any question about anything, they have an answer. And it's kind of interesting to kind of be fun sometimes to keep asking them more questions and seeing how they love to have an answer for everything. Don't equate your experience with someone else's. You know, and in this day and age where we like to commiserate with one another, a lot going on in the world, and oftentimes people are sharing with us things that have gotten them down lately. Well, listen and inquire more about that. Don't be so quick to just chime in with, oh my goodness, that happened to me, or oh, you think that's something. Wait till you hear what happened to me. That my experience was even worse. You know, that's usually not showing the person that you're really cueing in on what they're going through in their experience. And again, as Celeste mentioned, try not to repeat yourself. Stay out of a lot of details. Keep it brief. Know when to stop. Lots of great advice from Celeste. And some of those key takeaways are, of course, as you know, that conversational competence is an important skill. We are always getting better and learning new techniques. Keep an open mind. And you can enjoy a conversation with people even if you don't like them or agree with them. Now, that's a thought that you should keep with you when you get to the USA, because a lot of things can be very polarizing right now. But, you know, there are lots of things that we can all find in common and enjoy talking about without agreeing on everything. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story, and it's kind of from the olden days, from days that have gone by. And I want you to think back to the time before this pandemic Would you believe there was actually a time when as many as 8,000 people from around the world would often convene in one city, in one conference center to have a conference, a meeting? Maybe you've even been to some of those, and maybe someday we'll be telling our grandchildren about them and what it was like to live in an age when we could bring so many people together physically in the same space. Well, back when that was a regular occurrence, people who planned events really wanted to set these people up for success and wanted them to get to this conference and be able to network and connect with other people. And so, and maybe this happened to you, oftentimes they would do a lot of social networking beforehand, try to get people to introduce themselves and get to know one another. And there's a story has it that in one of these little social media groups, leading up to a big international conference, there was a little group for people who were traveling to the conference alone. And they found that these folks were able to get to know each other on social media, form some bonds, and get to know each other. And it was a great comfort to them knowing that they had made some connections. So the problem was when you get to this conference and 8,000 people show up, how are we going to get these folks connected? What are we going to do? And someone came up with the idea of the red feather. I know it's pretty high tech, but would you believe what they did was that they agreed that when they got to this conference, they would each, from this little solo traveler group, they would each put a red feather on their name tag. And they didn't know if it was going to work, but they thought this will be one way so that when we're in this conference hall, we'll see somebody with a red feather and we know we're in a safe spot. There's someone that knows what we're going through. We've bonded with them. We have things in common. And they didn't know if it was going to work or not. I mean, 30 people out of a group of 8,000, would they actually find each other? And they found that they did. First it was 2, then it was 4, and then the number kept growing. And soon people at the conference started noticing these red feathers and asked about them and wanted to get in on this. And they actually opened it up and allowed people to join as long as they were friendly and outgoing and open to meeting new people. So this little story from the past got me thinking, Gateway participants, all of you, what's our red feather? Maybe this isn't even possible, but is there a way for the Gateway participants to stay connected and remain connected in the coming year as you are all over the United States? Basically, what I'm looking for is, how do we keep this networking going? So Gabby's going to put you in breakout groups for probably 25 or 30 minutes because I'm running a little late already. When you get into your breakout group, someone's going to need to volunteer to be a scribe or a reporter to just kind of take some basic notes. You're going to debrief on this mini micro experience you have, kind of have a conversation about conversations. And then I want you to brainstorm and think about networking possibilities with your fellow Gateway participants. Are there any red feather ideas, something that we can do to keep this networking alive? You'll get a 3-minute warning, and then we'll come back in this main group to talk as a group. So when you get placed in your small group, we're going to ask you to stay in that group until you are specifically invited to leave the group and come back. Gabby, are we ready?
We are ready. All right, you are off to your breakout rooms. We will see you back here in about 30 minutes, everybody. Okay, for those of you who are still here, there should be a little breakout room option on the bottom of your screen if you need some assistance getting to your breakout room. There we go. Let's see. You should see either a pop-up on your screen that says join breakout room, or if you look at the very bottom of your screen, you should see a breakout room icon. There we go. Maheen, do you need any assistance getting into your breakout room? Oh. Maheen, are you there? Let's see. Okay, Maheen, I'm gonna put you back out in the waiting room and pull you back in and see if that pushes you out to your breakout room.
Looks like it's just us. Oh, Maheen's back.
Okay. Oh, then Brenda, let's see. Let me chat her as well. Hi, Brenda. I just assigned you to your breakout room. That's where we are now. So you should see either a pop-up prompting you to join your breakout room, or on the bottom of your screen, you should see a little breakout room icon.
I've not seen it yet.
Okay.
I still can't see it.
Okay. Do you see an icon that says more?
That says,
Yeah. If you click on that, there might also be an option in there to say join breakout room.
wow. Okay. Okay, I've seen it. Join breakout
Yeah.
room.
Not sure if Maheen is with us or not. I chatted her and I haven't heard back, and I don't know if she's frozen or what is going on. Also, Colleen, I put them in their breakout rooms for about 27 minutes.
Good, okay.
So they'll have just a little bit of time, like about 10 minutes or so to debrief. And then I'll do some final announcements right at 9 and dismiss them at that time. For Fareed's overflow room that he's managing, he was wondering should they share, the people in his room, should they just share out with him since they won't be able to share out to you?
You mean the note takers?
Yeah, so
If they can just, if each note taker can put them in his chat, he can copy and paste that chat and send it to me later.
perfect.
That would be great.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, Maheen, I don't know what's going on with, I'm thinking she's probably frozen, unfortunately. I don't
Ah.
see any activity from her. Let me call Fareed real quick.
Alright, let me just put you back on live.
Yeah.
I have to get in my meeting.
Oh, okay.
Alright, sounds good, you're good now.
Okay. Colleen, Fareed's wondering, since we'll just have about like,
You're muted still.
oh, I'm muted? No. Are you, am I okay now?
I hear you.
No, I don't hear you.
You don't hear me? Like, can you just, are you trying to hear me through my screen or?
Okay, now I can.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Because can you just like, I'm gonna be pretty delayed, Fareed.
Yeah, I think you're delayed.
Well, can we just talk like through the phone so it's not,
Yeah.
okay, give me one.
Let me keep up with you.
Okay.
And I'll just hear what you say.
Okay. All right, hold on. We have one student coming in here. Hi there. Hi, Ezra. Oh, Maheen, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hi. Okay, I've been trying to get you
Hello.
into your breakout room. Do you see like either an icon on the bottom of your screen that says breakout room? Or sometimes you have to click under more and then join breakout room that way. Oh, she's gone. All right. Isra, are you there? Oh, okay. If you click on the more icon on the bottom of your screen, you should see an option that says join breakout room. And it should send you where you need to be. If you don't see that option, let me know and I can talk you through it. Okay, great. If you click on that, it should just, oh, perfect. Okay, so what I'm wondering is, I wonder, just because of the limited time, I wonder if we should just utilize the chat for sharing out. Because if we have 5 groups in 10 minutes, it's gonna be a little rushed.
Right, I only need someone, the scribe, to put their best point in the chat. That's it.
Great, okay, so do you wanna prompt them to do that when they get back? And then you can kind of look at the chat and,
It's on my screen, right? It's on my first slide.
perfect, okay, great,
Yeah.
fantastic. Great,
I'm gonna have to solve my slide forwarding issue.
yeah, so strange.
I guess I could probably try working on it right now. How much more time do we have?
We have 13 and a half minutes still, so
All right, now
plenty
it's
of time.
It's working now, so we'll be good.
Oh, a student, it looks like.
Are we close?
We are close. I think a student got disconnected because there's somebody in the waiting room, so I'm just gonna let them back in.
You guys all look so good. Jacqueline's hair looked really good the other day.
Thank you. That's very kind. I appreciate that.
Reed wearing a suit.
Yes. Hi there.
Hello.
Hi.
I disconnected and I lost
Nope.
my.
Yeah, no problem. At the bottom of your screen, if you click on more, it should say join breakout room and you should be able to go right back.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. That coffee, Colleen?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I even got up and I went swimming this morning, so I'm,
Good for you.
it's
Wow. Where did you go swimming?
our outdoor club is doing masters every morning at 5:30 for the parents.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's the best.
Yeah. Because you all are in like the Plymouth Canton area.
Farmington.
Farmington. Okay. Nice. My parents live in Novi, so not too far.
Oh, and where do you live now?
I'm in Dearborn.
Ah,
Okay. Yeah, we have 4 minutes left, so I'll give them a 3-minute warning in 1 minute.
all right. So I can go ahead and start screen sharing though,
Yeah.
because let's see.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Okay, let me say 3 minutes.
Okay, now my slides aren't advancing,
That's so weird.
so I'll just go back to well, now they are.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, previous. Oh, I get it now. Okay.
Perfect. They're going to start trickling back in about 1 minute. Perfect. Okay, they're all going to start trickling back in now.
Welcome back. Some of you are coming back to the room. Glad you are back. So if you are just joining us and you were the scribe or the recorder, if your breakout group had a really good idea for how all of us Gateway folks can stay in touch and network more in the coming year, you can go ahead and put maybe your best idea from the breakout group in the chat. So again, if you're just joining us and you were the scribe or the reporter from your group, you can put your group's best idea for how we can all keep networking in the coming year. You can go ahead and put that in the chat. But in the meantime, as you can see, we had 3 questions on the chat. And 3 folks had some questions about networking. I took a stab at answering them. But if you have other ideas, you can also put that in the chat. It's interesting because just driving here today on the radio, I heard someone say, you know, why don't we more often say to people, how are you doing today? And I thought that was a really interesting variation on how are you? I think it can really make a difference in asking it in a slightly different, more natural way. But I'm curious to know if any of you have thoughts on whether networking is culture specific. The second question was about keeping a balance between sharing and yet not wanting to steal other people's thunder. I would suggest you try to always see if you're listening more than you're talking is a great rule of thumb. And the last question, and again, these are very superficial answers just to get you guys thinking about them. Someone who's changing specialties, what would you suggest? And I think this is exciting. I think it's going to be a great differentiator for you, a way to set yourself apart. Also, you should consider asking your current network for help in connecting you to your new network and people in the field that they might know. And also consider service and volunteering and ways to get involved in your new field. But Gabby, how are we doing? Is everyone back?
Yeah, everyone's back.
Okay, great. I thought so. Again, if you haven't put your best red feather idea in the chat, consider service. What do I mean by that? If you are part of a profession, oftentimes there are service roles you can take. You can join organizations, you can serve on the board of that organization. Any ways that you can volunteer time for an organization or a company, it's a great way to meet people. Okay, so again, go ahead and put other ideas in the chat for our outstanding questions. Or if your group had a particularly good idea for how we can all keep networking in the future, if you can put that in the chat for your group. Thank you so much. I want to emphasize just some final things. And none of this should really be that surprising, but it's just good to kind of think about and reflect on all that we have talked about and thought about during this networking module this week. And I think one that particularly sticks with me is the idea of a good conversation is like a game of catch. You know, you don't usually hold on to the ball too long when you're throwing the ball back and forth and playing catch with someone. In fact, those of you that remember I play water basketball, oftentimes we do practicing throwing and catching. And the big challenge is to be able to do one-handed catches and one-handed throws and to keep things going back and forth at a good clip there. So a good conversation is like a game of catch. Don't hog the ball. Listen more than you speak. Be genuine and be present and be curious. You know, I wonder, when the telephone first became the useful tool that it came to be, I bet you there were people that thought, I'm going to talk on the telephone with someone. That's just not the same. How am I supposed to make a connection with someone on the telephone? You know, why wouldn't I just get in my horse and buggy or, you know, take a walk and go see that person? I don't know if I like this telephone thing, you know, and I think a lot of us are feeling that way about online and virtual networking. And I think humans are adaptable and they're problem solvers and they are innovators. And I think it's going to be amazing to see what we can do to network virtually until we're ready to start networking in person again. You know, there are people out there right now making a vaccine, making antibody tests. And I think if all of us can put our minds together, we can probably come up with some effective ways to network and get to know one another online. So we've talked a lot about how to have better conversations, and I think we can do that on the phone, through video chatting, and even in person. I know a lot of folks here in this country are meeting in person and finding creative ways of doing that outdoors whenever possible. So people are looking forward to getting together in person, and we will still have many opportunities for that. But in the meantime, I think there's some great potential online and virtual ways of networking. So while this networking module is coming to a close, I think that what's exciting to me is that you have so much more that you are going to be doing together in the rest of the course. It has been such a pleasure to get to know you all. I've enjoyed it a great deal. I've learned so much from you, and I look forward to continuing this relationship and learning from you guys more about networking. So thank you so much. And Gabby, I'm sure you have some final thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much to Dr. Colleen Ezzeddine for sharing her insights and wisdom on networking. I know we all appreciate just how engaged you've been in the discussion boards, and you know, I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts here with us today. This does conclude our networking session. So you have officially made it through week 1 of the Gateway orientation. So congratulations to all of you. I see some fist pumping out there. It's very exciting. I truly can't believe we're a third of the way done already. It's flown by for me anyway. Just a few final announcements. One, enjoy your weekend, rest, relax. The next module will open up on Sunday if you want to get a head start on that. That is the leadership module, and that one is completely asynchronous. There is not a Zoom meeting for the leadership module. Then our cross-cultural understanding module will open on Monday, and that module will conclude with our next Zoom meeting, which will be on Wednesday, August 12th at the same time. So again, you'll get your Zoom link through Canvas announcements. Keep an eye out for that. And as always, if you have questions, please email the gateway@wayne.edu email address. So have a great weekend. I'll see you all for week 2 of the Gateway orientation. And thank you for your participation today. Bye, everyone. It was great to see you all. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, Gabby.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Night.
Safe,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Have a nice day,
Thank
everyone.
you, Dr. Colleen.
Thank you, Dr. Colleen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie and Melissa. I appreciate your help.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
See you in a little while.
See you soon. Bye.